25 years of Susie Watson Designs.
Firstly, I'm going to say a massive thank you very much for having us, Susie Watson. This is like a dream come true.
Oh, well, that's very, very sweet of you to say so, but it's obviously, very nice for me that you even want to do it.
I think anyone would want to be in my place. It's just the most beautiful building I've ever seen. It's filled with light everywhere. I would love to live in a Susie Watson brochure. That would be my dream come true. And I'm actually here now, so I might never move. Thank you so much.
There's largely thanks to our builder, I have to be so fair. But I used to do house conversion. So actually, I love the building side. That's the bit, in a funny sort of way, I'm almost most at home at. Spaces and windows and all of that is my comfort zone, really. I love doing houses. Yes. I love it. Even when we were doing up houses, I used to mix my own paint colours and take the wallpaper down when I didn't like it, which my husband used to find infuriating.
So is that where it started? Was that
yes, we used to do up houses in London.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I always do your own house, don't you? And I used to mix paints for my own house, but then we used to buy a house at a time. This was just an empty space, but now it's all panelled. It looks like this beautiful room. But there was nothing here at all a year ago.
I know you've got 10 other stores nationwide. You're taking over the UK.
No. It's only 10.
That's a lot. But you've also got one here as well, haven't you? So what was the thinking behind opening this as well? Because I know you've got a gorgeous cottagey one over there.
Well, it wasn't totally planned, really. We walked around Yew Tree and I was with actually one of my stylists and we said, actually, this one could be fine. So then I bring my son up, who is our chairman, and he said, very cottagey, isn't it? He said, I think we need to move on, because so many of our shops look very cottagey. He said, I think you need to show more. And they then said, oh, well, there's this bit at the back. So we come down here and he says, this could be amazing. We can do what we want. This is much better. We did a deal on the pair.
Wow. That's brave.
And at the time, it was ridiculous. My husband nearly had absolutely, he was furious. But actually, I think, in retrospect, I think it was the right thing to do because this is right.
Oh, it's glorious.
And the garden, and it has given us the space. We could chop it up any way we wanted, which is an enormously helpful thing to be able to do.
Absolutely. There is something gorgeous about seeing all of your designs in a small, lovely, beamed, oak-floored, cosy cottage.
And then so many people actually around here are living Cotswold stone houses with those beams. So, not many people have rooms this big. So I think actually it providing it's possible, I think actually they do complement each other.
Yeah.
And this is more of the showroom and that's more of the shop. So you've got to be bold, haven't you?
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. Otherwise, how do you ever achieve? How do you move forward? And that's clearly what you have always done. Would you say that? Are you a brave person?
I think actually, funny enough, I am a brave person.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like there's a bit missing because most people think, but what if? And if I want to do something, I just tend not to think about that bit if. Because when people say, well, you just think, oh, I haven't even thought about that. It'll be fine. So I think I've just got a very optimistic, which is probably quite important if you're entrepreneurial, isn't it? It's certainly shown something that we've never been able to show before.
Yes. Oh, in all its glory.
One of the things I find, if I went to a conventional interior designer, one of the things I find quite baffling is this pile of books, because I find a bit I quite like in one of the books, but it's stuck in the book.
Yeah.
And then I find another thing in another book, and I'm trying to hold all these books and get an idea of putting them together. And it's really difficult.
Yeah.
So the idea behind this is that this is the sort of thing I would like to come to if I was doing my house. So I could sit down comfortably, hopefully somebody make me a coffee. Claire definitely would. And I could actually get the individual bits of fabric and put them together.
Touch them,
and they're big pieces so that I can actually see what they're going to look like. And I would just find that much easier. And also there's paintboard, so I can actually find a paint that's a bit like my paint at home.
Yes.
Even if it isn't exact, it'll be similar. So I can sort of do it much better.
Yeah.
The idea of creating this space was that you could come in here, you could actually just play around with them.
Cushions around.
Yeah,
That's
and they
sort
do.
Of my lifetime ambition.
I mean, 5 cushions is really enough. I mean, sometimes we do 7, but that is quite extravagant.
I would go 11.
Yeah. Then you'd have to sit at the front.
That's fine.
Definitely you can muddle up different, it's really nice to muddle up a patterns and planes and textures.
Yes.
There's so many nice textures.
Well, these silks at the moment.
The silks are absolute bliss.
Oh.
They are quite grand.
They're just gorgeous.
They're quite grand, but they can look amazing with, what do I like them with? Something like velvet. It's really lovely.
Yes.
Whoops.
Well, the green and the pink, when you bring that.
I mean, that is just lovely together.
And then add
but
that
I wouldn't.
pink. Look at that.
And that is wonderful with that. Nearly all the fabric you buy now is digital, which actually isn't a bad idea because, you get consistency. But funny enough, it doesn't quite look the same if you're used to doing it the old way. This is hand printed and then stone washed. I mean, we use a lot of this wool only because it is so tough and it never seems to get dirty and it will last forever. We buy it from Abraham Moon in Yorkshire. But when I first met Cosy, who is a very intelligent guy actually, I remember I wanted to do a spotty tablecloth. This is like 2008 or something. I go out to South India, I get to his factory. And so they say, where do they put the spots? So I can remember saying, right, well, we'll just do a line 8 inches apart, and then we'll offset the next line 8 inches apart, and then another line. So I show him this, and everybody's like, wow, okay. And now he is the best pattern designer. He had never had any concept of making a pattern. It's so mathematical, and he can make a pattern out of everything now, so we don't have to do anything. I cannot bear changing duvet covers. In fact, I can't really bear duvets because they are lovely when it's a cold night. The rest of the time they're too hot and you're trying to get your leg out the side, and the whole performance of changing the quilt is ghastly. So when I was in America, they have these comforters that you sleep under in New York, and I thought, this is brilliant, no duvet. So this is our interpretation of a comforter. Everybody thinks it's a bedspread. It's actually a sleeping system. And so you have it with a sheet, so that's much easier to change. And it's a short sheet, so you don't tuck it in. It's got lace on the edge, so it's perfectly fine. And the quilt is just the most perfect weight for sleeping under.
Amazing.
And if it was really cold, then very often I put a throw on the end of the bed so I can pull that up in the winter. And if you were an incredibly cold person, you could sandwich an uncovered duvet, but a very thin one, in the middle for the very cold winter. Do you know what I mean? But you'd never have to change it because it's
brilliant.
A sandwich.
So if you've got someone moving into their new house, which room would you recommend that they decorate first?
Well, I think probably the kitchen is almost your most important space. Unless it isn't, in which case you might start, if you've got a wonderful sitting room area, you might start with that. But whatever you think you're going to live in the most is probably quite important. And for so many people now, the kitchen is possibly, the room you live in most of the time.
Living space,
So if you've made this wonderful big kitchen for yourself, I think that it is quite important that you think about how you're going to cut it up, because you do want a cozy area. It's actually really nice to have a desk, I think, because, you do sit and work in here. You probably work at the kitchen table. I do. If you've got the space, have a desk.
Absolutely.
And having somewhere to eat, which is relatively close to the sink or to the island. I think sometimes people put their island in the middle of nowhere, and it then dominates the whole room, and there's no room for anything else. Once builders are in, they want decisions really quickly, and that is a big temptation to just do what you think will be fine, rather than actually thinking through the whole thing. If you possibly can, think it through before you start. The lampshades are something we did quite recently, and I do think they are really fun. You couldn't print that, it's the fact that it's textile. They'll all go in a different direction. That elephant's too high. You can't.
But that's the joy, isn't it? This is your beauty in imperfection.
Beauty in imperfection. You've got to have that if it's handmade.
Don't you think it's something that actually makes a home? If you have pieces that everything looks the same in everybody's house, how does that make it personal to you? How is that your home?
The thing is, machines can make perfect things. Is it amazing? Not really. I mean, if you think of old pieces of furniture in a sale room or something, one of the things that's lovely about them is probably the fact that they aren't exactly symmetrical. Do you know what I mean? There is this slight imperfection, and that's what gives something character. So I think people have got to stop worrying about imperfection. The ceramics, to be honest with you, they're so good at now. It is almost perfect.
You would have no idea that that's been hand stamped because it's so.
And all the lines are painted on by hand.
I've watched them go. That's incredible.
It is remarkable.
They're sort of, they're like your second family. I know family is really, really important to you, and your daughter now works with you, and I know your son's been involved, and your son-in-law.
Yes.
But over in India and Sri Lanka, they're also sort of part of your family, aren't they?
They are absolutely definitely part of our family. And, you know, I probably talk to them more than I do my children, without doubt, because I have to talk to them at least 3 times every day.
That's really what strikes you in all the different stores that I've been into. Everyone's really, good morning, how are you? And they get very excited and can I help you and look at this thing and let's have a look.
What's the point in going shopping? You can buy online. You know, to me, if you go shopping, you do want it to be a different experience.
Yeah.
Somebody to actually care about your house.
Yes.
A lot.
I heard someone on the phone actually, and I could only hear this side of it, saying, okay, well, how about if we produce this and then we could move that over there and you could bring in this. And she was immediately involved in somebody else's house on the phone. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, we have to do quite a lot of remote because not everybody lives near a shop.
With autumn coming, people are thinking about cozying up their homes. Can you give us some of your tips for cozying a home, please?
Lamplight is terrifically cosy, and candlelight. And then colour, probably every room needs a bit of red. There are so many lovely soft rusty reds or pinky reds which do the same job, which are really not hard at all and just lovely and warm. I think colour probably is the big thing.
What are your inspirations and influences? Where does it all come from?
Well, to begin with, it was really things I needed myself. Where would I use it? What do I want it to be like? And I think you're much more perfectionist if you think like that. The thing about design, it is this amazing mixture of art and the practicalities. It's art and numbers. You know, you can't just say, I want a wide mug. You've got to think, how many centimetres is that?
I have one last final question. Of everything that you've designed, you can only pick one thing to keep. What would it be?
Oh gosh, that's an awful one, isn't it?
Sorry.
Will I keep a rug? I can't bear the thought of not having a rug. On the other hand, I can't bear the thought of not having a mug.
I will allow you a mug and a rug. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Having got it, so very sweet of you to listen to all this.
What you have created is so inspiring.
Oh, well, no, that's ridiculously complimentary, but
it's true.
It has been a journey, and when I look at it, I do think, oh God, I can't believe we've done it. You know, we've got there.